Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel, and we're in the studio today, and I just want to introduce to you my most favorite, reliable, dependable, non-fussy, non-chatty, never late model, PAULA. Now, in all seriousness, having a mannequin in your studio is an absolute must in my opinion. I learned so much about studio lighting, lighting patterns, ratios, direction, intensity, quality of light, all the fundamentals of lighting I learned with this young lady here. It's such an amazing resource. You can shoot without being disturbed, without having to waste anybody's time. You can experiment to your heart's content. So this is my model here. You can see she's on a light stand and she's wearing a dress. Now, the head of the model I bought from Amazon, and then the underside here is just simply a tailor's bust, which only kind of comes down to about here, and then I've got a light stand which runs right up through the model and into the head, and that just allows me to move her around. So this is a fantastic thing. I would get one if you are wanting to learn about lighting. Now I'm just setting up a setup right now for some fashion work, and it's a very simple white background, seamless paper roll. We're using a strong, literally bare bulb reflector single key light here, which is running all the way down and hitting the model. If I was to measure how far this is roughly in feet, we'd say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We're about 6 or 7 feet, I think. Those are quite big feet actually, from model to the light. And if we just have a look at where the light is in relationship to the model, you can see here it's above eye level, and there's the model, and it's pointing directly at them. Now what's that going to do? Well, it's going to create a wonderful long shadow on this side of the model, on the left side of the model, or camera right side. And we're using that shadow as a creative effect. Now I'm not actually going to be shooting the model directly face on like this. I'm going to be coming off to the right hand side and shooting this way. And the reason behind that is if I shoot like this, because of the angle of light, the shadow that I'm going to get is actually going to fall along here. If I was to come and shoot directly this way, the shadow would be going this way, and you wouldn't really see it as much. So we want to come out a little bit wider because we want to see that shadow. It's part of the characteristic of the shoot. It's a little element that we're going to use. And then over here you can see we've got our kicker light. This is going to kick the light in here. It's gridded so we don't get any spill on the background, because we don't want to kill the shadow on the background that's been created by the light over there. So this guy here is illuminating the shadow side of the model, and it's going to give us a nice kicker light. It's not a rim light. A rim light would be directly behind and create like a halo around. A kicker light is which hits from the back side and it spills or kicks a bit of the light onto the face as well. So that's the kicker light. And we're going to be shooting on the 5D Mark III with a 70 to 200. I'll just show you a couple of test shots that I've just got right now. Let's turn the camera on. So this is, let's focus in on that. So this is what we're getting. We've got this nice shadow falling off over here, and then we've got the model, which is lit up really nicely, and we've got a little bit of that light spilling onto her cheek. Let me zoom in for you. Sorry about the focusing. There we go. Let's come up over here. And we've got a little bit of that spill on the side of the cheek. If we go back a couple of shots before I use the kicker light, like here, you see we've got a much darker pronounced edge, which I might like, but I'm not sure yet. I'll wait until the model arrives and then we'll actually have a look. So that's what we're getting with the kicker. And you see the shadow, it's really nice. Everything else is exposed really well. Let's look at our histogram. And this is, for me, this is perfect. We are going to be more along the right side of the histogram. Definitely, there's going to be more highlights than there are going to be shadows. I don't think I've got the highlight warning on, so let's turn that on, and then we can find out if we have any clipping. Highlight alert, enable. Let's go back to play. Let's see. So the only thing that is blowing out right now is that bit there, which is totally fine for me because I don't want it perfectly white everywhere. I want it to be like an off-white, almost like a very, very light grey. That means if I want to tone this background later, if I want to give it a bit of warmth, I can do that because there is actually information there. And this little bit here, this little bit of white here, I can easily pull that back in post. And I'm going to be making the shadow a bit darker in post as well. So that's it. That's basically the light setup. Anyway, I'll come back to you in a minute when we actually start shooting. Okay, we've just added a little bit of an extra dimension to our photograph, and that is this wonderful long shadow that runs vertically through the frame, but it's off to one side. Now, the way we've done that, quite simply, is using this white V-flat here, which is a poor man's white V-flat. Unfortunately, here in Qatar, we can't get these foam boards in a thick size or in a particularly long size, so we have to use thin ones taped together in order to create this. And mine, I've had them for about 4 years. They're absolutely knackered. I need to make some new ones, and I'll make a video of how I do that at another point. Anyway, let's get back to it. So we've got the light, obviously, which is our Godox 8600 with a silver reflector, and that's hitting the subject, but it's also hitting this background here. Now, if you want to create a strong shadow on the background, the principle is fairly straightforward. You want to bring the object that is casting the shadow as close to the surface that you want the shadow to be cast on. So this is the object that's going to cast the shadow. We want to get that as close to the background as possible, and we want to create as much of a distance as we can between the light and the subject which is going to cast the shadow. So we want this to be a small, strong point light source. Think about the sun in the midday and the shadows that you get from that. And we want the subject to be far away from the light, close to the surface. Okay, so that will give us a strong, intense quality of the shadow. So I've just moved this around a little bit until I've got it where I want, and we'll just come back and we'll have another look at the camera. In fact, I'll take a shot right now. I'll do a one-handed 70 to 200 shot. Let's see if we can do this without breaking my arm. And move the camera out of the way. Let's do that. Okay. And that is what we get. Beautiful. So simple, right? So simple. And having the mannequin in place just makes life so much easier. Okay, so we've got this, which you could class as a flag or a gobo, which is also called a go-between. And then we've got the one strong light source. We've got the kicker here. That's it. All right, hopefully you'll enjoy this video, and I'll show you a few more shots after the photo shoot is over. Thanks for watching.